Last episode we left Litang on the way to Yading, Shangri-la. Along the way we tried and failed to find the ugliest stone in China and were puzzled by rocks in the heights of Mountain Reserve. We reached the official end of the Yajiang NIO Power Journeys in Shangri-la, where we pick it up the next morning before we reach the end of the unofficial end of our journey.
Okay, so another chilly morning here. We're going to leave Shangri-la County today. But first, while we're here in Yading, we're going to go to a mountain peak about 4,800 meters. And we'll be able to see the peak, which is supposedly 5,200 meters. So hopefully we've got clear skies. And then we're on to Shangri-la City, where we'll be finishing up our NIO journey. I mean, this is the end of the official NIO journey, Yading, but we're just going to go a little bit further because we're going to fly out of Shangri-la City. So we're going to get on the road. We're going to go hopefully see that peak, get down to the city, return the cars, and be on our way. We've had a fantastic time so far. Let's finish it off on a high. Okay, so we've ascended up another mountain again on this journey. It was somewhere around 4,700 meters. This area that we're in now is known as Shangri-La's Soul. And behind me in the distance there, the snow-capped mountains, is known as Ep.4 Mountain. Having done this, people might wonder exactly, how do you do a NIO Power journey? Like, what do you have to do in order to initiate one? Well, the answer is pretty simple. You simply look up where you want to go there, set your sat-nav, and away you go, because the sat-nav will automatically show you where the swap stations and charge stations are along your way through the smart navigation. And therefore, NIO Power has just ensured that remote areas and scenic spots like this are linked to the infrastructure, because we know that cities nowadays, especially major cities, are swimming with charging infrastructure. However, some of these more remote areas like this place here, where sometimes even the road runs out, charging infrastructure especially, may be spotty at best. That's what NIO Power shored up for NIO users to allow them to experience just amazing, breathtaking places like this.
When I say breathtaking, I mean absolutely jaw to the floor, stunning. We travel from a major megacity up onto the plateau, past snow-capped mountains, carved up the sides of huge peaks, and cruised at extraordinary altitudes. I danced way up high, ate mouth-numbing Sichuan food, drank suspect things, and laughed, all with the most amazing backdrops over the past 5 days, and all with ease thanks to NIO Power Journeys and the convenience of the charging.
So one thing that we didn't actually do a lot of on this trip, but is a core and essential part of ownership of a NIO, is obviously battery swapping. That's pretty much, NIO's big claim to fame. There are 9 key advantages to battery swap that NIO highlight, and I want to share with you so you understand, the advantages just beyond being able to quickly recharge. Number 1 is that battery swapping, with it taking somewhere between 4 and 5 minutes, is as fast as refueling a petrol car. Number 2 is that with NIO now, I think they've got about 2,000 swap stations here in China running, more on the way. You can go anywhere with confidence that you're going to be able to find a swap station, or at the very least some form of charging network provided by NIO Power. The third is that with the 2nd generation and 3rd generation swap stations, not a big hassle to swap because a lot of it is automated now. The 1st generation, you did have to get out of the car, but for Gen 2 and Gen 3, you simply press the button and the car will reverse itself in, do its swap, and then once it turns back on, you can drive out. The 4th is that with this kind of battery swapping, because the battery can be separated from the car, you can basically rent the battery. That's NIO's BaaS, battery as a service option. Or if you want, you can purchase your battery. Another big key part of battery swapping is every time that you go in and you swap a battery, that battery's health is checked. So in that way, you could be more confident that the health of the battery packs within inside the ecosystem and inside your car are checked regularly. The sixth one is that swapping allows longer battery life than high-speed charging. Going from your old battery to a new battery is only taking you 5 minutes, but the charge station can charge those batteries at a more relaxed rate and rotate and kind of manage that power distribution. Number 7 is that swappable batteries are easier to be reused and recycled, obviously, because they can be separated from the car, so when they go bad, you can deal with them. Number 8 is that the swap stations, they have grid interactions, they enable load shifting and energy conservation. So again, with all these packs, they're a store of electricity, and it allows the swap stations to do certain things with that energy that they have on hand. Number 9 is something that when I bought my NIO is how I decided on what battery size. Now I use and I run a 75 kilowatt hour in my ET7 simply because 4 swaps a month, 75 kilowatts, that's more than enough for me to do my daily commute for the month. But if I want to go, on a longer journey, then I can just opt to swap in a 100 kilowatt or maybe even later the 150 kilowatt pack for a day, a week or a month or for however long I need it for. And in that way, it gives you the flexibility. I don't need to cart around a 100 kilowatt battery when I've no need for it. So in that way, we can be a little bit more efficient on the kind of size of batteries that we are carting around. And obviously, the smaller battery, the less weight, the more efficient we can drive. They are the 9 benefits of swapping, which is, I would say, a core component of NIO Power and NIO as a car and your experience as a NIO owner.
Soon after hitting the Daocheng highway, subtle suggestions of rockfalls soon became narrowing roadways. And then it all went crazy. Roads disappeared altogether, potholes and raised sections, as well as washed out and completely flooded broken roads. As the roads kept getting worse, the drive really began to wear on us. No cell reception here, no spare tyre in the rear. But in between glimpses remained. This may not be the same fictional Shangri-La, the heaven-like place of immortals, but it gives it a run for its money in its stunning scenery and absolute beauty.
Now we are just outside Shangri-La city. I know it looks like we're still in the middle of the countryside, but we're about 15 minutes outside. Now the official NIO Power Journey is Chengdu to Yading, which was our last stop last night and this morning when we went up the mountain. Now, you can do this next leg of the journey, even though it's not officially part of the Power Journey. There is a fast charger in Shangri-La city. However, a word of warning. The road that we just drove down is potentially very treacherous. There's a lot of mudslides and rock slides and a lot of obstacles over the road, huge craters, which in the ES8 is not so much of a problem, higher ground clearance and its air suspension able to lift it up. But with something with a kind of fixed ground clearance, you have to be kind of mindful. Obviously out there with no cell reception, you've got to be careful. There's just rocks everywhere as well. So again, if you burst a tire out there, it could potentially be a problem. And depending on the time of year, snow might be an issue as well. In fact, when we were in Chengdu, we were advised to buy snow chains just in case. Thankfully, we didn't have to use them, but it's worth noting that if you do plan to drive that road between Shangri-La County and Shangri-La City, to be prepared and just take it slow and be safe. But this thing's been an absolute trooper. It's been comfortable, it's been quiet, it's been good fun to drive when it's needed to be, and it's managed that horrible road as well. So all while carrying all of our stuff, yeah, I mean, can't fault it. And NIO Power providing such infrastructure to allow us to do this with such ease means that you just have great access to places like this.
Just a few more minutes taking in this gorgeous scenery, reaching the outskirts of Shangri-La City, but with the clock running down, we simply passed through, eventually arriving at the small Shangri-la airport and flying our first leg to Kunming before flying back to Changsha. But a last word from our journey. Okay, so we're in the airport now, going home. That's the end of our NIO Power journey. 5 days, over 1,000 kilometers, been really, really great. Seen a lot of great things, a lot of beautiful sights. I want to thank the NIO Power team for lending us the cars to be able to do it, but I also want to thank the people behind the camera who made it all possible. So let me just quickly say thank you. This is Lorenzo, who basically records everything. This is Jeff, who's been driving and helping us out, and obviously my wife, who has been giving me I guess moral support. But yeah, thanks to those guys, because without them it wouldn't be possible to have done this all alone. So that's it. I'm Will, they're the people that helped me, and this was China Driven. A conclusion montage won't do this trip justice. If you're a NIO user in China, I highly recommend that you just go take this trip and properly experience it, or at least take a NIO Power Journeys trip near you. You will not regret it. If you're not a NIO user in China, well, you may be able to take part in a NIO Power Journeys in Europe, but if not, try watching again from episode 1.